Hello everyone, welcome to my current personal hell. This video is gonna be a big tone shift from the last one I did, where I was like very hopeful and trying to remain positive about the UI changes and basically saying that you will be able to use the new UI and just play the game properly, and that we should have a little bit of trust and that it was gonna work out. I'm kind of done a full swap on that because we finally got the first look at the new rate frames, and that has been like my main point about how, if the new UI is going to succeed or not, is depending on how well they made the rate frames, because I am a healer. Most of my content and audience is aimed towards healers, and as a healer you spend most of your time looking at your rate frames. If your rate frames are good, you have a much better experience playing. If your rate frames are really bad, you it kind of sucks. So we got the first look at it because Blizzard yesterday published this article about the new things they're doing, and we got to see this fucking thing. So there's a couple of things to point out here. First, we get this line of sight indicator, which is great, long overdue. It's currently kind of really annoying to notice when someone is out of line of sight. This is great. We got the color borders and the more noticeable icons for the dispels. This is good because currently on default wireframes that is kind of hard to see. And we get the icon in the middle for external offensive, right? If someone gets a cocoon, like in this example, or probably like time dilation or something like that, it will show here. That's good. So those definitely worth pointing out that those are improvements. But besides that, this is just the current default UI that we have right now and think it's bad. So I know most people just haven't looked at actually what the default wireframes look in game right now, but this is actually pretty close to what they look like. And like there's a bunch of problems with that, and let's get into that. So the main issue right now is that, as you can see from down here, these two players, the buffs just work in the same way that I was done, where you just get a bunch of buffs and they push each other around. Like if you get both Rejuve and Wild Growth, then the Wild Growth is up here, but if you don't have Rejuve, then Wild Growth is down here, and so the order is just messed. Like you cannot pre-position a buff in a specific spot. And that's like the main crux of the issue, right? Because let's say I'm playing my evoker, so I'm tracking echo. I really need to track echo. I need to know if people have echo or not, because I need to ramp. Like every single global cooldown, I'm putting echo on a different person, and I need to quickly, at a glance on my frame, tell who has echo and who doesn't. And right now with this, all I can do is like try to look for the echo icon in between some reversions and maybe a dream bread and whatever, and possibly even the temporal anomaly shield. Try to look through this bunch of icons and see, does this person have echo? Yeah, that's the echo icon, so I need to target someone else. And I need to do this every global cooldown like 4 or 5 times in a row while I'm ramping. And that's not great because it might be on different spots on different people and it's not clear, and the icon might not be super distinct to some other buffs, so it's just very annoying. Like what people currently do right now is have one very noticeable indicator for the most important spell. Like for echo, you might have the icon on one spot, and the only thing that can show in that spot is echo. So if you can look at that spot, you can very quickly tell if someone has echo or not. Some people change the whole color of the bar if that target has echo, which is another good way to go about it, but that's probably just completely dead and not coming back. So there is no filtering at all for the icons, right? There's just no way for you to order them. And that is like the main crux of the issue that I'm trying to point out here, is that not all buffs are equal. Like your class can apply a bunch of heals over time and shields and whatever, but not all of those are important, and you just don't care about some of them. But the current implementation of the rate frames, which seems to be pretty much the same that you're going with in this example, is that you just get shown every single buff that you can apply. And that's just not gonna cut it, because we don't care about some of the stuff and we care extra hard about some, and we cannot distinguish between them. I understand that they don't want to let you filter things by their IDs, because that's like the crux of the issue, right? They don't want the add-ons to solve things for you, so you cannot do logic based on IDs. But at the very least, we should be able to filter both based on a whitelist that they give us. Like, if these 6 things I can apply as a resto druid, they should let me be able to say, I don't care to see if this person has tranquility. Because why would I care if this person has tranquility? If I'm pressing tranquility, everyone has tranquility. Like, why do I want to use one of my valuable spots of information in the rate frame, which is not that big, when I have to look at 20 people to show tranquility? That's just, it doesn't make sense. Like, they should be able to let us remove that one. And then if you really look at this and imagine like the worst possible scenario, you don't even get a lot of space. Like, imagine if this tank had a longer name, like the DK down here. Imagine this longer name here. And he also gets cocoon or time dilation, which we use a spot in the middle. And then he also gets a debuff over here and on the corner. What part of the health bar can you actually see? You get a little bit over here and then a little bit over here, maybe, depending on how long the name is, and that's all the health bar you can look. Like, so if I just hold up someone real fast because they're taking a bunch of damage, and I also external them because they're taking a lot of damage and they have the debuff, so they're taking a lot of damage, I cannot even see their health now because I just cover with a bunch of useless icons that I don't really care about to track. And I cannot remove them because I cannot filter which buffs I don't want. And the worrying part is that Blizzard talks about layouts here. So they mentioned that the existing layout, which is this pretty much, which resembles current life frames, and you're gonna have 2 more layouts based on popular add-on offerings. So they're not talking about customization. They're not talking about you being able to move the buffs or change their orientation or decide where they grow. Like, maybe you don't want them growing to the left, you want them growing upwards, and you just only want 3 buffs because that's all the space you care about and all other things you care. They're not out talking about that. They're not mentioning it at all. They're not pointing out at the buffs. They're not pointing out at you being able to change literally anything except giving you 3 layouts. And I'm gonna make a prediction here. Layouts are gonna be, oh, I changed to layout 2, and now the names is in the center and the everything else the same, or something like that, because that's the use like grid 2 or cell comes out of the box with. And that's that's not a prediction. It's just gonna be that. It's just gonna reorder stuff, and that's it. And you're gonna be able to do anything. And it has me really, really worried because this is absolutely fucking terrible. Like, the bare minimum you need for a healer UI to work is being able to see what buffs you want to show in them, and not just randomly throw literally everything that your class can do and a bunch of stuff other specs can do. Showing a line of sight, that's great. Being debuffs more clearly market, that's good. Showing externals, that's amazing. But what about my stuff? What about the thing that my class does that I need to be able to track on people? How do I know if people already have Echo? How do I know if people already have Atonement? How do I know if people already have Riptide so I can target them for a chain heal? Like, I need to waddle to this bunch of icons that may or may not be there and pushing the icon I care about to different spots. And there's not even numbers under, like, we don't even have, this is a mock-up, right? This is not in-game. We can tell because there's a hunter healer here. This is not like someone in-game with the new rate frames in their internal build. This is a mock-up made in like Photoshop or whatever to show how it will look, right? So we don't know if there's gonna be like swipes on the icons or numbers on the icons. Like, they don't show them here, but that will be terrible, right? Because is this rejuve gonna expire in 2 seconds or in 20? Like, is the Echo this guy has is gonna expire soon, or I can keep ramping and don't worry about it? Like, I can, like, right now from this mockup, I have no idea. So that's bad. So that is where we are right now, and that has me really bummed out about it, and I'm really, really worried now and feeling that it's all gonna be crashing down and it's gonna be terrible because they don't seem to understand what is actually the problem with the rate frames and what is the one thing we need, which is being able to at least has the most basic filtering of buffs. I know they don't want us doing logic on them, so we're not gonna have like the whole thing lines up or gets a glow or gets a specific border when this person gets this buff or this debuff. That's fine. I can live with that as long as they let us position buffs on a specific location. It's like I don't care about a bunch of these stuffs. I just want the one important buff for my class to be on a central spot so I can look at it quicker. Like, and it's not like I'm asking for like something insanely weird that no one does, right? Like, every single add-on works that way. Like, if you install any of the popular rate frames add-on, you get 2 things. You get indicators and statuses, right? Like, indicators are where you position things. They might be like, oh, one indicator can be an icon in the center, one indicator can be several icons in the corner, one indicator might be the color of the bar, whatever. Like, those are indicators. And then you have statuses like this buff or this debuff or whatever, and you position the debuff in the indicator, and that's a pretty basic thing. And it's also the same thing that they're doing with the cooldown manager. You have the statuses, which are just the spells, and you have the indicators, which are the two different groups they have, and the disable one. So you have a wide list of things that your class considers relevant, and you are free to position them between the two groups or disable them. And that is all I am asking for here, and all I think we will need to actually just be okay with it. Like, we could live with that. I don't think we can live with this. I'm not gonna be happy with this, and I think this is bad, and they should feel bad for taking so many weeks on the alpha and just doing this. Like, what is the point of this? I know we're worried about this. I know we're not hearing things, but showing this half-cooked thing that is just like pretty much the same as the current ones, but with just a slight improvements made on Photoshop is not inspiring confidence at all. I was holding my opinions until we actually got to see the reference in game. But if this is what they want to show, then I'm gonna judge what they want to show, because what they want to show right now seems kind of shit, and I'm worried because this is the most important part of the UI to me, and I assume for most healers. They really need to. They have time. They really need to turn around on this and just do the basic format filter and just copy paste the cooldown manager and implement it. Just give us, like, I don't know, like bottom right, top right, and then center or something like that, and just let us add the specific buffs or debuffs to the specific position. It doesn't have to be a lot. It can be very basic, and you can just give us a wide list just like you're doing with the cooldown manager, but it has to be some form of it. It can't just be just literally everything we have, because that's just gonna work. It's just gonna be make very annoying, and this is a problem because you can say, oh, you want the game to play for you, and you want your add-on to just tell you stuff ahead of time, and you want this extra advantage that getting information in an easier way. The problem with this is that this goes way too hard in the other direction. Like, if you have to play it like this, you're not playing the game, you're just fighting your UI, and that is a problem healers have always had. Like, half of playing a healer is just making a UI that you don't have to fight against while playing the game. And we manage that with very powerful add-ons that do a lot of it for us. And nowadays you can just install Cell and pretty much it works out of the box. And you don't have to fight your frames. You can just play the game and get the information you need to actually play your class. But if you have to go back to this with no form of filtering at all and just take what we get and just waddle through a bunch of icons on tiny frames when we have to kill 20 or even 30 people sometimes, it's just terrible. Like, the quality of life is just gonna go down absurdly. And this bumps me out because I'm really liking the other things they're doing. Like, I really like the new nameplates. Obviously, if you're used to Platter, this is just like very basic, but compared to the default wireframes, I think this is a great update. Like, they took what was in the game and improved it massively with this, and same, they implemented their boss warnings thingy, and it's great. I like it. They took something that didn't exist in game and added a usable good version of it and improved upon it. And they have been doing that, which is why I was positive. Like, the current ones was bad, so they made a new one, and that was great. Like, same with the cooldown manager. There was nothing, that they made a bad one, that they made a good one. So now we have a serviceable one that works, and that's great. But for wireframes, they simply to be grabbing the ones that are already bad and just adding the bare minimum to them and presenting them like, okay, we fixed them, but they didn't. It's pretty much the same. It has the same issues. It's dogshit for the same reasons that the current ones on live right now are dogshit. And they don't seem to be pointing out that they know why they're dogshit and that they're gonna fix them. It's just like, yeah, we made stuff bigger and added a line of sight indicator, and you're gonna be able to move where the name is around. Awesome. So that's where I'm at right now. That's where I'm worried about right now. I need this specific UI element to be good so I don't feel annoyed playing the game. This is very important to me, and I assume for a bunch of healers, and right now it's not, and it doesn't seem like they are very interested in making them not suck. So I made a forum post about it in the alpha forums, pointing out specifically that we need to be able to filter buffs. It's a very short, very to the point post that just goes like, just copy paste what you did in the cooldown manager and give us a list and give us some spot to place buffs, and that's it. That's all I'm asking for, and that's all I think we need. It's not ideal. It's not gonna match live, of course, but that's expected. But we can work with that, I think. But without even that, it's just gonna be absolutely terrible, and I'm not looking forward to it. So I hope this reaches people, and I hope they see what the problem is. I hope they know I surely expect them to know what the issue is about filtering buffs, and I hope they do something about it. But on the there, I'm just very worried. This just bums me out really bad. That will be it for now. I'm probably expect an update when this hits live for real, and to see how it looks. And yeah, I'm gonna be revisiting UI several times because this is very important part of the game to me. Eventually, when we're close to release, I am gonna be releasing a full configuring your UI guide, because I assume there's a bunch of people that have been using add-ons for the longest time and don't actually know a lot about what the base UI can do and what it's able to do. So because we're losing a bunch of add-ons and people have to rethink their approach to things, I am planning on writing a full guide on what the default UI can do and how you can configure it to do that thing, and what do you actually need the add-ons to do and what can add-ons do. So yeah, it's gonna be a long write-up, so that helps people set up a default UI that will work properly. But the main crux of the issue, specifically for healers, is gonna be how can you make your ray frames usable. And right now, it's just gonna be a big blank page that said, "Haha, you can't." But yeah, expect the guide eventually, and expect probably more updates from me about the specs and classes on the alpha and the beta eventually when we get to ray testing and such, because that is actually when the real content comes in. For now, I hope that didn't like bring you down a lot, but that's where we are right now. So I guess we end up in a bit of a negative note. Thanks for hanging out, and bye bye.